Hey, what's up, guys? It's Gothalion, and I've been saying it for a while, and I think it's high time I actually put out this save file and a video on the spec that I like to use when I use Melee Zer0. Now, there's a few skills that I interchange, and I'm going to go over what's really useful in what situations, and hopefully it'll help you guys with your ninjing and ninjantics and killing of dudes with slicey diceys. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go ahead and spec the character, and the spec that we end up with at the end of this video will be the spec that's included in the save file that I'm going to put in the description of this video. So if you plan on using this, downloading this, don't forget to leave a little thumbs up on the video. I appreciate that. If you have no intent to use this file at all, or anything like this spec at all, go ahead and leave a thumbs down. I don't care. But if you're going to use it at all, use it for reference, you know, don't be shy with that thumbs up. So let's get into it. Alright, the first thing you want to get is Deception, because gotta. Cool. Kill and Blow is awesome. You want that, because it helps you kill people. A lot of people are kind of like iffy about Iron Hand because of the max health that it gives you and how that might adversely affect you at OP levels when you're trying to get past that health gate. I grab it anyways, because I don't give a fuck about that. It's a small melee boost from where it is in the melee formula, but I still get it because more melee is more power. Be like water. Going in between your guns and your melee is a skill you can pick up if you want to, but the way I spec is I generally spec specifically for my burst damage for my execute. So I go ahead and I go down and get Backstab, because Backstab is actually one of the most potent abilities in the melee formula, along with Ambush, which we're also going to get later. Next, we're going to get Follow Through, because it's just awesome. You get a kill, and you will fly through the fucking battlefield. It's a good thing. Next, we're going to pick up Execute, because you don't want to be without Execute. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to put 4 points in Resurgence, and then grab Many Must Fall. Resurgence will give you a little bit of a heal when you get a melee kill, and getting more heals is always good, especially on OP8, though you're going to be hugging that Grog Nozzle quite a bit. I don't know if I usually get Like the Wind. The reason being is because my spec is built around doing burst damage with Execute, you actually do not get the benefit of Like the Wind when you're executing. For whatever reason, when you go in for that dash, it does not count you as moving. Watch the little icon, it goes away when you go into execute. So I tend to not use that. If you guys like to get Be Like Water or Like the Wind, you could probably trade in Resurgence for it if that's something you really want to do. Or if you want to trade Iron Hand for Be Like Water, you could do that as well. That will give you a nice boost. Next, we're going to go over to our Cunning Tree. I like to get Counter Strike, and I like to get Ambush, and we like to get Rising Shot, and we like to get Death Mark, obviously. I tend to usually always get Fast Hands, because reloading and weapon swapping is really nice when you're swapping back to that from your Rapier over to your Grog Nozzle, or when you're switching to a rocket launcher to get a kill if you need a second wind. I tend to max out Innervate, and I don't really care for Two Fang in this build, so I'm not going to throw any points in it. Some people really like Unforeseen. I'm not a big fan of it at all, so I tend to skip it. Again, this is the build that I use. So this is about as close to what I use every time I get there. The next thing you want to do is get Bore. So we get headshot damage increase, and we get Killer, and that's an ambulance in the background. We get Bore, because Bore is awesome. And, you know, with these last 3 points, it's really whatever you guys want to do. I tend to throw them in Velocity. If you want to come over here and throw them in like the Wind or Be Like Water, you can. But I tend to get Velocity, because I find that it helps when you need to shoot those Norfleets to get a second wind, in case you go down, in case you get yourself into a shitty situation with your ninja. So now we're going to go over gear. Primarily, we're going to be using the Rapier and the Grog Nozzle. The Grog Nozzle was a permanent, what was it? A permanent drop for 1 day. It could drop off of the Gold Golem inside of the Tiny Tina DLC. And for whatever reason, they didn't leave that in. I felt like that was kind of shitty. I think it should drop from the Gold Golem. It would really alleviate a lot of bullshit in the community. So we got our slab rapier, we got a Norfleet. The parts on my Norfleet aren't perfect. I'm pretty sure I found this Norfleet. We have a double penetrating unkempt herald because the herald is also an amazing weapon, great bore weapon. I think it goes really well with this spec. And we got a grog nozzle, also evisceration. I like to use the love thumper. I use the love thumper for general mobbing because you can pretty much one-shot almost any mob with a stack of kunai and a hit with the love thumper. For bosses, I would trade it out for something like a Hide of Terramorphous. The burst damage on the Hide of Terramorphous is actually quite a bit larger, but you do have to micromanage that shield. You do have to micromanage the shield, which can make it a little bit more dangerous. But for standard mobbing, I use the Love Thumper. For group play, you should learn to micromanage your shield for your Hide of Terramorphous, though you can learn to use cover. Because if there's like anything on the ground in between you and your friends, you will not thump them and hit them with the friendly fire damage, because when you use the Love Thumper, it does hurt your friends around you. The class mod I use is, oh, why does this not have a star? There you go. Is the legendary Ninja class mod because it's Ninja. It is legendary. It is the best melee comm there is, in my opinion. So Ninja comm. It has all the points we want. I could do without the Resurgence skill. I wish that Resurgence was in, like, I don't know, Counter-Strike. If Resurgence was in Counter-Strike, that comm would be absolutely broken. I use a Chain Lightning for stripping my shields when I need to, but I also use it for on-demand heals, because if you are using a Grog Nozzle and you throw a Chain Lightning, just make sure enemies aren't near you, because it will bounce back and kill you. It's not the safest way, but if there's no enemies around you, you throw the Chain Lightning, it will heal you to 100% all the time, every time you throw it. It is a great on-demand healing grenade when paired with the Grog Nozzle, because 65% of damage done comes back and heals you. I tend to use a Bone of the Ancients, mostly the shock damage to amplify my Chain Lightning, but also the cooldown rate. People always ask, why don't you use a melee relic instead of a cooldown relic? Well, like I said, my build is built around being in execute as much as I can, using that execute, using Many Must Fall, getting that burst damage, because you get so much burst damage from execute that it's more worthwhile and better for your overall damage output if you are constantly getting that cooldown back, if you're constantly being able to go back into Deception. So the cooldown relic ends up being, over time, much better, even in boss fights, than the melee relic. Melee relics are actually really bad, and in the formula, they barely add any damage. It's completely negligible. Always go with a cooldown relic over a melee relic. Always, always, always on melee 0. Cooldown over melee relic. I can't stress it enough. Also, that, what is it? The cooldown override, the melee override, does nothing for 0. It does absolutely nothing for 0, so that's a wasted stat. So you're basically wasting half of that comm. In your inventory, you have an Omen, because it's amazing for Boar. You have a Bada Boom for jumping. A Maggie and this Swapper's Launcher are relics of the past, and I love them. A Pimpernel and a Twister just for style. You have one of each Sandhawk. You have a Hive, so you can show it to Baru. I have Kittens, because they're my favorite AR. And then you have Bone of the Ancients for both other elements, and you have an Allegiance Relic Doll for your Sandhawks, in case you want to use that. You also have Legendary Hunter, Legendary Killer, Lethal Ninja, which is a relic of the past. Both of these are. All of these are relics of the past, but I'm kind of a pack rat. You have a Stormfront. The Stormfront is actually less dangerous to strip your shields with than the Chain Lightning, but it's not so good for on-demand heals. The Stormfront will never leave you with a dot on your character, and that's a reason that I use the immunity to electrocution, the grounded Love Thumper, because you'll never leave that dot on yourself from the Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning can put that DOT shock damage on you, and that's bad. Longbow Stormfront will never, ever put that damage on you. I have the Slag Singularity. I use this for grouping up bots against Hyperion. We have a Magic Missile. We have a level 8 Magic Missile instead of an OP8. Why? Because you can throw this at point fucking blank and it won't hurt you. If you throw an OP8 Magic Missile at point blank, it will fuck you up. So you can use this in deception and not worry about hitting yourself with the magic missile. You will still slag enemies. The level of the item will not affect whether or not it slags enemies, so use that. We have a fireball for shooting fireballs, and then we have the different flavors of the Hide of Terramorphous. We have an inflammable Flame of the Firehawk for fighting Master Gi, because you could just hold a grog nozzle and use that, and you'll be pretty much fine. We have 2 variations of the Bee, shock and burn immunity, and then we have a burn immunity, Love Thumper. I don't know why I don't have a corrosive immunity on the Bee or the Love Thumper, but you guys will deal. Anyways, guys, so this will wrap it up for my melee spec and build. I showed you guys the spec and the gear I use in case you are the type of person who just doesn't want to go download a game save file. I totally get that, but you still want to have some sort of guide as to what it is I use. Other people might do things differently, but this is the way that I play Melee Zero. This is my save file, my build that I regularly use. So I wanted to show you guys what I use. Is it the best? Is it the absolute most efficient? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but I know that it works for me, and I know it's what I've always used. And you're coming to my channel, getting my build, so you might as well use what I use. You know what I mean? So don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, if you plan on using this as a reference, don't be shy to put a thumbs up on the video. If you have no intent to reference this video or download the save file, leave the fucking thumbs down. I don't give a shit. I love you guys. It has been an absolutely awesome year. Thank you for watching, and enjoy cutting bitches in half. I'll see you next time.